Every Friday after prayers, the Imam of the mosque and his 11 years old son went out in one of the predominantly Christian suburbs of Amsterdam, distributing to people small books entitled The Way to Paradise, which the father composed and printed at his own expense. And one day, it was a Friday, and it was very cold and rainy, so the boy put on a lot of clothes so that he wouldn't feel cold, and he said to his father, "I am ready to distribute books." And the father said, "The weather is very cold outside and I won't go out in this weather." The boy surprised his father with the answer and said, "But Dad, there are still people going to hell. Can I go alone to distribute these books?" His father hesitated for a moment and then said, "Yes, you can go." He gave some of his books to him. The boy walked through the streets of the city in this weather in order to distribute Islamic books to those he met. And after 2 hours of walking in the rain, the last book remained with him, so he kept looking for a passerby on the street to give it to him, but the streets were completely deserted. So he went to the first house he found to give them the book. The doorbell rang and no one answered, so he kept ringing the bell again and again in vain, but something was preventing him from leaving the house, so he kept knocking on the door with his fist so slowly. There was an old woman standing at the door who looked very sad and said to him, "What can I do for you, son?" The little boy looked at her with sparkling eyes and on his face a smile that lit up the world for her and said, "Madam, sorry if I bothered you, but just want to tell you that God really loves you and takes care of you, and I came to give you the last book with me which will tell you everything about God, the true purpose of creation, how to achieve his satisfaction," gave her the book and walked away after thanking her. A week later, after Friday prayers, where the Imam had finished his lecture, an old lady stood up and said, "No one in this gathering knows me, and I have never come here before, and before last Friday I was not a Muslim and I did not think to be so. My husband died a few months ago and left me alone in this world, and last Friday it was very cold and it was raining and I decided to commit suicide because I had no hope left in life. So I brought a rope and a chair and went up to the attic room in my house. Then I fixed the rope well in one of the ceiling beams, stood over the chair and fixed the tip, the other rope, around my neck, and I was about to jump, and suddenly I heard the doorbell ringing downstairs. So I said, I'll wait a moment and I won't answer, and whoever knocks on the door will be gone in a little while. I waited and then waited for him to leave the door, but the sound of knocking on the door and ringing on the bell was rising and increasing. I said to myself again, who is he? I lifted the rope from around my neck and said to go see who he was knocking on the door, and with all this insistence, when I opened the door, I couldn't believe my eyes. He was a little boy with his eyes shining on his face and a smile like I had never seen before, so I can't describe it to you. The words that came from his mouth touched my heart, which was dead, and then jumped to life again, and he said to me in an affectionate voice, "Madam, I have come now to tell you that God really loves you and he takes care of you." And then he gave me this book that I am carrying, The Way to Heaven. So I closed my door and very carefully I read the book, and then I went upstairs and removed the rope and the chair because I won't need either of them anymore. Now I am very happy because I got to know the one true God, and I came here myself to say thank God and thank you for this little angel who came to me at the right time, and though it was my soul that was saved from eternity in hell, the Imam father got down from the pulpit and went to the front row where his son was sitting. This little angel hugged his son in his arms and burst into tears in front of the people unreservedly.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اركعوا واسجدوا واعبدوا ربكم وافعلوا الخير لعلكم تفلحون وجاهدوا في الله حق جهاده هو اجتباكم وما جعل عليكم في الدين من حرج ملة أبيكم إبراهيم هو سماكم المسلمين من قبل وفي هذا ليكون الرسول شهيدا عليكم وتكونوا شهداء على الناس فأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واعتصموا بالله هو مولاكم فنعم المولى ونعم النصير.